Hi Lalini. Alright, so we've got your past life spread here, and what we're going to do is we're going to look at where we're going, what you did with the majority of your time, an important day with the relationships and feelings involved, another important day, the death, and the lesson learned. And we'll get hits of time throughout, okay? So basically, I'm just going to relay to you the images and impressions I'm getting, and your job is going to be to try to make connections where you can from what we're looking at here to your current life. And I'm going to try to help with that as much as I can, okay? So let's start. All right, so we're going to Europe. Here's the Europe card right there. And so when I put this down, it felt like what came through was something that felt like Greece, if anything. It had a Greece feel to it, which can also feel, sometimes it feels just like Mediterranean, okay? So that can also, it's also like, could be like the tip of Italy at the very bottom, or look on a map and look at those surrounding countries where it's like between like Italy and Greece, see if there's anything there that rings a bell. But we're looking at it's a Mediterranean feel, and we're looking at the life of a woman. So for example, to start with connections, if you've had any kind of interest or pull towards Greek or Mediterranean culture, food, language, history, if you've seen pictures of Greece or the southern Italy, the Mediterranean area, the ocean area, if you've seen photos and there's something about the photos that relaxes you or calls to you or whatever it is, that's the kind of connection you could make. And if not, that's okay. But that's where we can see connections already, if there are any. Also, something about the ocean and water. So if you're connected with water, the ocean, if that's a therapeutic thing, if that's your favorite place to be, if that's what you dream about when you think of, if I can go anywhere on vacation, it would be like to a tropical island or somewhere where there's water. That would be another kind of connection as well, okay? And there's plenty of people who love the water and the ocean, but there's a lot that aren't either. I'm more of a mountain person, so if that connects to you in that kind of way, that's an example of how you would connect. All right, so let's move on. So I'm going to but we're going to stay there. We're going to stay with Greece or the southern tip of Italy, that area. So keep that in mind. And there's something about being outside a lot. There's a lot of sunlight in this, a lot of sun, like you're out, you're doing things. This life there's a lot of movement, there's a lot of momentum, there's a lot of going from place to place doing things, and we're going to see what's going on here, but that can also speak to you on a couple of levels. For example, if you can connect with that in the way of, one, are you somebody that feels like you are moving around a lot? There's a lot that you do. You're constantly moving. You're not resting enough. Or on the flip side, since our souls experience one thing, they like to come back and experience something else. And so, for example, how that would pertain to this is you could also come back into this life as somebody who likes to be lazy and someone who likes to just be settled and likes to just be like, So it can go either way. So see how you connect with that. Now this card is what you did with the majority of your time. And this card is the take care of me card. A lot of times this comes up, I'll say most of the time, this comes up when it's somebody who sometimes they're injured or sometimes they live a lifestyle where others kind of wait on them or treat them like someone who is being taken care of, basically. But in this instance, what it feels like is coming through is somebody who hears take care of me in all kinds of matters that may not be wanting, like needing it, but it's like somebody who hears take care of me in all kinds of situations. So I guess what I'm saying, it's more like this is somebody who is constantly devoting their time to other people's problems and other people's situations, and there's not enough time being spent on herself. And this is somebody who feels like they are spreading themselves too thin, taking care of other people's problems, because they feel like not only are they capable of it, which they are, but it's a feeling of, this is why I'm here, this is my purpose, I'm here to take care of other people. But it's somebody who wants to like solve the world. They want to solve the world's problems, but you know, you're only one person, you can't do that. So that's where the spreading too thin comes in, because it's kind of an impossible task that this person has put upon themselves. So if you're somebody that feels like you feel like you're taking care of people all the time, or you feel like other people are kind of asking that of you, even if they don't literally ask, it's just like how you feel. Do you feel like people drain you? Do you feel like people just kind of feel like they ask too much of you? Are you this person that just feels like you have to constantly be giving all the time? That's how you would connect. So you can also connect on that flip side, where you could be someone that finds that you have a more selfish personality, which selfish, I know, usually sounds negative, but not, it's just a word that means, just caring. It's just like, not selfish, I hate that word, but more like you're about you in this lifetime, which is perfectly okay and good, actually, because you do need to take care of yourself, as long as you're not hurting other people, so to speak. But yeah, so we're looking at this person who is on top of everything. It's like the ultimate mom, like the ultimate multitasking mom is what it feels like. Like you're just constantly going from place to place. And I feel like we're looking at someone who lives in a large town, and I dare say large village, because this feels like we're going back. It doesn't feel like ancient times. It doesn't feel even like, I don't even think like the Middle Ages kind of thing. It feels, but it's not modern. I feel like we're looking at centuries ago, but definitely after after the year 1000, like after the year it's something like the 1400s, maybe around the 1400s, that kind of thing. So we're looking way back, but this isn't ancient, but this is a long time ago. And it has a very much like a large village feel to it. What's coming to mind is the like opening scene of Beauty and the Beast, where she's going around the town, everybody knows her, everybody. It's a large town. Today it'd be considered a small town. Here it's considered a large town for the time and region and place that it's at. So for example, it would be like, let's say we're looking at Greece. It wouldn't be Athens. It wouldn't be a main hub. It would be like an island, like it'd be like the main city or town of a small island, or it would be a large town compared to like, what they consider, like, again, Athens, large, thriving city. It's not the large, thriving city. We're looking at like an outside town kind of thing. But the town itself, they consider it a large community there. I guess that's what I just want to say. So how you can connect with that even is, are you somebody that likes the idea of a small town feel? Are you someone that likes the idea of being in a place where you know everybody and everybody knows you? Or did you come back where you want to experience more like, I want to say like bigger life, like city life, and exploring new things, like that kind of thing? If you're someone here who's like, I need to get out and I need to like experience things and go to, you like visiting the big cities, or the idea of going to like Paris and London, those like hubs, if that's exciting to you, that would make sense too, because this person stayed in this town, and it seemed like a very normal thing to do and expected, to stay where you're born here in this place, which also speaks to something else. Are you someone that does not like to go along with what's expected of you? Are you someone that, it's not so much issue with authority, which could be, but it doesn't feel like that. It feels more just like you don't want to you don't want to just go along and be that polite young woman when you feel more of like a fire in you, or you feel like you want to express yourself a certain way, that kind of thing. Like the idea, you might be a feminist in this life. If you're a feminist, it would speak to this person. So let us move along. Also, the idea of, if for your career, if you're thinking of not necessarily changing it or whatever, but if you've ever had a yen for a career in like psychology or like therapy or even nursing, but not like the nursing where it's like you're on your feet all day and you're just exhausted, but like taking care of people. If you like that as an aspect of a career where you're not running yourself ragged, if you've thought about that, it would stem from here, because this person, if they had a psychology back in the day, a psychologist kind of thing back in these times, maybe they did, I don't know, this person would be basically like a house call doctor who would go and like, it's almost like this person listened to everybody's problems, but at the same time fix them. But it was more of like a hands-on thing and less of like sit on the couch and listen to them thing. It was more like, oh, you know, the old woman down the road is, you know, it's hard for her to do her laundry. So you go and you do her laundry at a scheduled time every week. And then you go here and da. So that it's this feeling of being spread too thin. So if you feel like you feel spread too thin and you allow yourself to be spread too thin, it's kind of a message coming through to you to be like, hey, you need to take a breather here, and you need to focus on you. You need to focus on your happiness and what needs to get done in your life before you return back to doing things for all these other people. Because it's not bad that you're helping a lot of people if you do find yourself being that person. It's just that you do need to refuel. Like, you need to definitely like take some time and be with yourself and do things for you, and do it before you do it for other people, because otherwise you're going to start resenting people. So you want to be in a good space in your mind, and you do that by refueling your own engine, so to speak, however that is done for you. That could be going somewhere for a weekend, going to a retreat, or that could be going to the beach or something, you know what I mean? Just like doing something that brings you joy and pleasure and is not for other people. You know, that kind of thing. So let's go to the first important day here. So here we're seeing a trauma, okay? So I'm getting some clarification with what the trauma is, but it's an injury. It's going to be an injury. And then here we have soul group. And then here is the confidence card. And this is a really wonderful time, because what's happening, it sounds weird because there's a trauma happening, but what's nice is you do get injured. That's not the nice part, sorry. But we see you getting injured in a way that incapacitates you for some time, and it might be an internal injury like a sickness that weakens your immune system and makes it so you're very fatigued and you just have to stay in and get through this kind of thing. Because what it is I'm seeing you stay inside for quite some time. Like, it's really hard for you to get out. There's something about just tiredness, a bit of a breathing issue, and then something about not having full function over a certain part of your body, whether it's your legs or arms. It feels more like legs, but there's something about it where you can no longer make your rounds. And it's funny because, you know, our guides or the universe, whatever it is, sometimes they'll do this to us as a way of telling us, hey, you need to take a break. So they'll put things in our path, and a lot of times we lament it and we're like, why is this happening to me? Oh, and we don't see that it's actually a blessing in disguise, and we're like, oh, okay, actually, yeah, this is a good time to rest. So that's what this is. It's a blessing in disguise, and you have an overall positive attitude about it, but what really makes it special is that the community comes around you, and now it's their turn to return all that loving energy that you've been giving them basically your whole life. So the soul group comes in because sometimes our soul groups, it's, you know, meeting a person who's part of our soul group. Sometimes it's a few people, friends getting together. Other times it can be a whole community. And in this special moment, we're seeing a large group of this community come together. And these are all people who are part of your soul group. And you've all chosen to come together in this lifetime to learn these lessons from each other. They're learning from you on how to give and love. As you can see, they're coming together to help you. And you're learning from them that you can trust people. You can trust to let go and not run yourself ragged, and trust others to do the right thing by you. And maybe you have an issue in your current life with trusting people. Trust might be big. You might not be able to trust to rely on people. And yeah, you shouldn't rely on people like in that way, like rely on them for everything in that sense, but trust that they'll be there for you when you need them. So it's almost like a little message there to, hey, you know what? If that's the case, start trying to trust people a little bit more. Like, give them more like benefit of a doubt, or give them a little more credit. You know, just see what comes your way, see what they can do for you, and start trusting that other human beings are good and they do want to help you. They want to give back. So keep that in mind. And if that's not the, if that doesn't speak to you, that's okay. But that's what is coming through. Sorry, hard to speak sometimes. Okay, so we're looking at this time, and it's a period of time too. I want to say over the course of months, you are almost incapacitated, and we're seeing people come to you, bringing you food, also loading you up in a certain way where they can transport you to areas that you enjoy to get fresh air and to enjoy the scene. And it feels like you're being brought to the ocean to see sunsets. You're being brought there to hear the water, very therapeutic. People are realizing, or at this time, it's almost like they utilize the natural wonders and the natural way of the world for therapy and healing. Like they understand that being by the water and hearing the water is therapeutic, and that you need that as a human being. You need sunlight, you know, like a plant, you need sunlight to grow, you need the earth, you need the things that this world provides naturally. So we see a very beautiful coming together for you, and it's kind of a beautiful feeling in your heart, like this knowing that like deep down, like these people care about you and love you and they want to see you do well. And it's not they don't want to make you better so that you can get back on track, back on schedule to help them. It's not that motivation. So I feel like that comes up too, just in case you might be someone that doubts people's motivations or motives behind their actions when they want to be nice to you, or it could be simply the kind of thing where it might be very hard for you to accept a compliment because you might doubt the truth behind the compliment. You might think, oh, they're just saying that. Oh, blah, blah, blah. They just want this. They just want to, like, just, if that's the case, just take the compliment and just try to allow yourself to trust the truth in the compliment and the truth and the good motives behind things. Basically, there's a feeling of wanting you to refocus, like a message of, try to refocus and learn to focus on different aspects of goings on with you and other people. Instead of, you might be someone that might first it might be feel natural or an instinct of yours, or a natural reaction or an instinct to put your focus on, why are they saying this? Why are they doing this? What do they have in mind? What's their motive? Blah, blah, blah. And it's almost like time to refocus, because you can't grow if you keep doubting people and keep doubting situations and things that, especially good things that happen to you. But even the bad things, there's always a silver lining to look for, and that's where you have to focus. It's to readjust and recalibrate your focus to start looking at the good things, even in a dire situation or a more negative situation, because looking for those good things makes things smoother, and it also allows you to learn the lesson in the situation and grow from it. It's that simple. Just refocus. And then this feeling card here is the confidence card. I can do it. I can do it. So the I can do it card is this soul level realization that it's this whole thing we're talking about. It's the confidence card in the people around you and the situations, and you can like get the most out of this life, basically, is what it feels like. You can still get the most out of this life by not doing everything for everyone. That's like your old self. Before this injury, it was like, I can only live this life to the fullest if I'm doing everything for everybody, if I'm on my feet all the time and constantly going, and that's not the case. You get the most out of life when you sometimes step back and allow things to happen around you, allow the flow to occur like you're doing here, because here you don't have a choice. But in your current life, you have a choice. If you're not injured and you're capable of walking around and doing your thing and going to work and this and that, you have the choice of allowing to step back and step into that flow. You just have to be in that state of allowance. And I feel like that is what's coming up. And that does bring in confidence when you know that you don't have to be on the go and on point and doing all this all the time in order to have a fulfilling life of loving energy and good times and being in the flow. You don't always have to be on, so to speak. You can step back and be yourself and just like take a breather. You can be vulnerable with people that love you and that you feel you can trust. Try to be vulnerable with people. Yeah, so let's move on, but stuff might still come up from that, but keep making connections where you can. As far also as the soul group goes, you might find yourself, it's a couple of things. One, you could be someone who's still looking for that tribe of people, looking for that group of people where they get you and you get them and it feels comfortable with them, and you know, people you feel like you can trust. Maybe you've gone through life and you feel like, I haven't found my group yet. Where are my people? Where are they at? And that's the whole thing about stepping back and allowing things to happen rather than forcing it. And they'll come and you'll meet them and it will be wonderful. On the flip side, because you had that here, you realize these are my people. Like these are my people. It's such a feeling. The feeling of these are my people. It's such a feeling of acceptance and love and stability. And because you've gone through that here, you might come back into this life wanting to be very independent and very just like wanting to kind of live an individualized life where you and maybe just like a handful of people and that's it. Or maybe even just one good friend, and you just want to experience life that way rather than a community. At the same time, you could be yearning for a community. Instead of like a group of friends, you could literally be like yearning for a place that feels like the whole place feels like home. So if you ever feel like, where's my home? You don't feel like you have home yet. It could be, the yearning can come from this, where you had a home, where you were born into this community and you felt at home and you flowed with things so easily. So if you ever feel like you're not in the flow of things around you so easily, you can tap into this life, because that's what these past lives are for too, is to tap into the energy and realize, I've had it before. I can bring it back again. You can. So when you tap into this energy of community, let's just say, for an example, you want a community, you can tap into this and feel it. You basically allow yourself to imagine what it would feel like to be part of this beautiful community where everyone helped each other and they wanted you, people want you to be at your best and they'll help you and you help that kind of thing. Reciprocation and all that. You allow yourself to indulge in the imagination of what that would feel like, and you can feel it. It's an essence, it's an energy, it's a frequency. So when you feel it, you hold on to that feeling, and then you start to allow yourself to be pulled in the direction, in a like kind of a metaphoric way, be pulled in the direction of where that energy takes you. And it will lead you back to the energy, okay? So try to work with that and play with that if it speaks to you, if it's something you want. And it doesn't just pertain to the community, it pertains to whatever else, that you learn about from past lives. If you've done it before, you can do it again. If you've gone through it before, you can overcome it again. It's something like that. It's a great thing you can do with, that's why I do these things. Sorry, I ramble. Okay, so let's go to the next important day here. So here we see a birth. And we see the soulmate card right there, soulmate card, and the content card. And so what we're seeing is, this feels like years later, and it feels like you partner up with somebody who is part of the community who helped with the recovery, but indirectly. So we're looking at a young man it feels like his mother is somebody that you had helped before, and she came back to reciprocate that. And of course, this person, I feel like you knew him, this small community, you know everybody. But it's almost like you didn't really directly interact very much until a certain time hit when the interactions they became more romantic, they became stronger. There was something that drew you to each other because it was the right time. And timing is always a thing. We always want to rush things, especially when it comes to like romance and partners and stuff like that, but everything happens at the right time. You'll feel it when it's the right person. Things start to flow and things start to be synchronous, and you don't feel like you have to rush, and you don't feel like there's pressure. You don't feel like you have to make it happen, because you'll be feeling instead like it is happening. It's just happening. It's unfolding. And that's what happens here. It's an unfolding. It's not like this hardcore passionate thing. It's this gentle easing into comfort, being together. But there is, of course there's attraction and chemistry, but it's not that overriding lust that can get us in trouble sometimes when we don't think with our heads, we just think with our loins, so to speak. But okay, so what's happening here is we're looking at the birth of your child. So it goes it bypasses, so to speak, the romance as an important day, and it goes to the child, which is really interesting because the soulmate comes in a way where you don't think of it as a soulmate, because you think you have your partner, you're in love, that's the soulmate. But it's about looking at the deeper things. So this child comes along and it's a love that you've never understood, never experienced before, and no one ever could until they have a child, right? So this love that you've never felt, the depth of love, I should say, the level, the type, the depth of love that you never saw coming is here. And it wouldn't have happened without this gentle loving from your partner, right? So it's kind of a really amazing thing. It's just this day, I should say, this day takes into perspective all of the depths of love that you've felt over your lifetime in different ways. You've love for your community, love for yourself, love for your partner, and then this deep, like, unfathomable love for this child that comes from you, from the love, this love of the child that comes from the love with a partner that came from the love of the community. It just keeps building and building, and it's almost it's the most amazing thing. It's the most amazing thing. It's a building blocks of love. And I feel like that is very important for you, and that's never come up before as it's said like that. The building blocks of love. I don't know if that means anything to you or if that speaks to you, but I feel like that's important, is understanding the building blocks of love. And there's something about pacing, taking your time, something about it being gentle, and it's not about the passion, it's about the steady, gentle stability. It's like, you know, I can't explain it. I'm trying to explain it. It's just like there's that. It's lust that we mistake for love versus real love. And that's where you are to use your discernment. So, you know, I did set that intention that we talked about. And I feel like this is speaking to that. It's a guidance for you on how to measure or how to feel out what is right for you. And it sounds like you are right on the what is it called? You're hitting the nail on the head, so to speak. It sounds from how you said it when you were talking about someone that you're interested in, and the vice versa. It feels like it's a growing thing, and I feel like this is encouragement to gently grow with those feelings rather than a hardcore, passionate, whoa, you know, kind of thing that is mistaken for love but is lust. So focus on the gentle, steady undertones of love, because it's just like our higher selves versus our ego. Our higher self will speak to us all the time, but the voice is so gentle because it's not about pushing you to do something. It's about coming through gently because it doesn't want to mess with any of your willpower or your choice. You know, we have freedom of choice, that kind of thing. So it just makes gentle suggestions, and if you are quiet, you can hear it, versus your ego that comes through and it's very controlling and it's telling you what, you know, that you need to do this, you know, like, so it's about discerning what is gentle, loving guidance and what is controlling and fear-based, so to speak. So again, I feel like this is speaking to go with the gentle undertones of love. And I say undertones because sometimes it just is so darn subtle, and us as human beings, we like things to be in our face and telling us what to do, ABC. We want it laid out for us, but that's not how it's done. The best way to go with the flow and stay on that path is to be quiet and listen to that gentle beat of the heart. It's so subtle. You have to be really quiet to hear the heartbeat, right? That's what you're looking for when it comes to that intention we were setting for this, okay? So listen to that gentle heart. Now, the content card comes up because this is showing you a partnership and a life that you are creating, your family, the community. It's showing that you are in charge of your own creation and that you can have everything you want. You can be content. You can be so satisfied. And it's also speaking to the levels of satisfaction and what satisfies you. Because again, we humans, we like instant gratification, and we like okay, we might associate happiness and satisfaction with something that isn't actually happiness or satisfaction. We just see it like that because it's bright and it's sparkly and it's pretty, and we think that, oh yeah, this is happiness. But happiness is more it's more again about steadiness and the gentle lovingness. So instead of like bright neon abstract colors, it's pastel and it's flowing and smooth, and it's colors that run into each other gently and almost like very naturally, like a sunset. If that makes sense to you, that's what we're going for here when it comes to being content. So sometimes people need to redefine what happiness or what feeling content means to them, because sometimes we get caught up in what society tells you happiness is, like a new car and a job that gives you, you know, this much money and da 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 da, and that's that abstract neon color painting. But what happiness is, or what you need to redefine it as, is just going with the flow of things and finding it's basically when you show gratitude for the small things, the more you start noticing the little tiny miracles that are in your day. Like, it could be as simple as walking outside to go to work, and instead of focusing on, oh, I have to get to work, it's focusing on, oh my God, the sunrise is beautiful. You know, it's again, what's coming up again is the refocusing. You can create the reality that you want. You can have everything you want, but you gotta shift focus in order to create it. Okay, if that makes sense. And I'm here if you have any questions, like feel free to ask anything, but that's what's coming through for this, okay? So let's go to the death. This is death by water. And a lot of times this can mean something, you know, like waterboarding and drowning and this and that. In this case, what they're showing me is this woman, an older woman, you lived a full life, and you are looking out at the water from where you live. It's almost like you live right by the water, and you're watching this beautiful, it feels like a late afternoon sun hitting the water, and it's the most peaceful feeling. And it's the feeling of you sitting there watching it, and the next moment you just slip away. There's no pain, there's no nothing. It's a breath in, a breath out. Or I should say a breath in, and then it's done. And that's your last breath. And I feel like your partner has passed by this point. You outlived him. I feel like good things have come of your children, because I feel like you've had more than one at this point, even though I feel like we're looking at your first one here. And I feel like even your children are taking care of you. You may even live with them at this point, and every day now is spent doing what you loved. You know, you're so established in the community. You're such a piece of the heartbeat of this community. You spend your days with other ladies that are good friends, and you've just enjoyed the process of aging. You've enjoyed the process of everything that life has given to you over the years. It's a beautiful feeling. And I feel like this is being shown to you to let you know you can create that again. You have it in you. You've already lived it, so you can have it again. And also, if you find that life is chaotic for you in this life, it's just to experience a little of chaos, if that's the case, if it speaks to you. And if not, that's great. But if there is chaos, it's just so you experience a little chaos. And this is showing you there wasn't really chaos. I mean, you had this thing happen, but it wasn't chaotic. So in this life, if you've experienced a lot of up and downs and a lot of like, you know, okay, and you know, it can be done now. You can let it go. You really have that kind of power, especially now seeing this and knowing this. It's almost like this would be coming up to let you know, okay, it's time to let go of the negativity. It's time to let go of the chaos, any judgment, anything like that, those things holding you back. You can really release that. And you can, again, adjust your focus now to having the best life that you can, to letting it flow. Okay? You can jump into the flow anytime. It's a choice. I know it sounds easier than it may be, but it's possible and you can do it. You have to have some faith and trust in yourself. So, That's the water death card. It's by the water. It's a lovely death. I know it sounds weird, but it's a lovely death. This also might come up if there's something about looking at the sun. There's a glare involved. If you have eye problems, vision problems, it would stem from here. But if not, that's good and don't worry about it. Otherwise, this also speaks to water. So if you do have a connection to water, again, there is such a positive feeling, even in the death by water kind of thing. So keep that in mind too. And here's the thing, it's funny, on the flip side, you can actually be scared of water. You could have actually come back into this life with a fear of water because of how comfortable you were here with it. Your soul might have just wanted to experience a bit of a, like a, what's it called, like a shake up when it comes to water. So that would speak to it too. So keep that in mind for whatever, you know, whatever you're able to connect with. Now the lesson here is simplicity, and it's a beautiful lesson, and of course you can see the connections right away. This was a very simple life. You went through life in this, what we would consider a small community, large town, whatever, and it was all about the people. It was all about your daily interactions with other souls, and mostly they were good. There's nothing again chaotic. This is about the relationships you form with people, allowing trust to come in and being taken care of. And this person here, they knew that the community would come together to help her, but she didn't know it would be like this. She didn't know how profound it would be, how much it would change her, how much it would like affect her heart. Like it is a heart pull just to see these people come together just for you because they love you and they want you to be better. It is such a feeling. And the simple life, so the simple community, such a profound effect in such a simple place, you know? There's not a lot of technology, there's no electricity, you know what I mean? It's just, but it's so profound. You don't need all the sparkle and all the pizzazz to have such a profound effect happen to your life, to your soul, to your heart. And then we come to this beautiful relationship that forms, and it's so simple. It's so easy. It's calming, easy, simple, coming together, just like fate. It was fate. It's destiny. And there is some part of you, some part of these people, in fact, that know that and they accept the destiny. When you came together, was coming through for this relationship, these people coming together, the whole community knew. As soon as it happened, everybody just knew. It was just accepted. It was just right. And there's the ceremony is very interesting. It was this feels very Greek now with the ceremony. It feels very Greek. They're showing me Mamma Mia. They're showing me a Mama. They'll filter through sometimes. They'll filter through movie scenes. And if you've seen that movie Mamma Mia, where she gets on the donkey with the wreath around her head, wearing white with like the white flowers, if you see that scene, it's that feeling like the community gathering together. Everyone on that island was part of it. They just supported it. It was the feeling of so much support. And that might speak to you too in that just having the support of people that love you, feeling safe, knowing that people people love you and support you, even just your family or just your friend, just one person. There's something so lovely about that, and that's really all that matters. It's that simple, right? Having those bonds with people, having those lovely bonds with people. And I also want to say that this bond with people, the relationship aspect with the simplicity and everything, if there are people in your life that are toxic to you, and you can tell, it's when you talk to them, spend time with them, or even think about them, and you start to feel off, and you start to feel negative, or feel that is directly telling you who is toxic to you, what energy matches with you and what doesn't. So when an energy of somebody doesn't match with you, it's going to feel off, and I feel like that's coming up to give you a message of pay attention to that feeling. Pay attention to who may be toxic to you. Sometimes it's our own family. A lot of times it's our own family because we're born into this family and we have to stay with them. Yeah, we choose our parents, but sometimes it's to learn lessons in how to stay away from them. You know what I mean? So it's really up to you to discern who is toxic to you, but it's also your duty to your soul and yourself to not associate with those toxic energies unless you feel like you're still learning lessons from them. You can get away from that. And I'm telling you, when you get away from those toxic energies and you start just, again, shifting your focus to what is positive and what brings you joy and what brings you peaceful feelings, steady feelings, happiness, that will change your life. You will be a changed person. Doors will open, it'll be like you transcended into a whole nother world when you remove toxic energy, toxic people. So I feel like that's coming up for that reason as well. And even the death is simple, but beautiful. Simple and beautiful. I mean, what a death. I know it sounds weird, but really, I mean, it's miraculous and wonderful. So I feel like, again, simplicity is where it's at. This is your golden ticket to happiness. Simplify things. Get rid of the chaotic, toxic things in your life. Focus on the simple, gentle, soft voice inside telling you where to go. Move towards the energies that pull you to a happy place, that pull you in. It feels good. You can feel it. It'll feel right. It'll feel good. So go with those feelings and you will step into the flow. That's how it works. So I hope that you enjoyed that. I hope you're able to make some connections. I hope that answered some questions. And in the meantime, I am here if you have any more questions, and just sending you lots of love, all right? Thanks for letting me read you. Bye.